Welcome back, trainers. So we have Espeon and Umbreon finally making the way into the Tier 3 raids. I'm going to be going up against all of the Eeveelutions, including Vaporeon, Flareon, and Jolteon, soloing all of them to take a look and see what we have going on here. And then we're going to be going over the rest of the raids that we currently have right now. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop into this. It's quite exciting. The Umbreon is a bit of a challenge if you do not have the correct counters. So I'll be going over the counters for these raids. Not going to go over a whole bunch of them for each Pokemon, but we're going to discuss about 5 for each of these raids. So with that said, now let's go ahead and get into this. And you can now also get shiny Alolan Raichu. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So you can also transfer those into Pokemon Let's Go if you actually have that game as well. So maybe you want to give it a shot because it does look pretty cool, nice and chocolatey. Alright, so now let's go ahead and go over the current raids that we have. Let's start off with the Tier 1 raids. And these can all be shiny currently right here. Magnemite, Mareep, Shinx, and Buizel. Alright, for the Tier 2 raids, only one that can be shiny is going to be Mawile. Otherwise, we have Lantern, Electabuzz, and Manectric. For the Tier 3 raids, you have the regular Raichu, which cannot be shiny. And then you have the Alolan Raichu, which can be. And then you have Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, and Umbreon. Very excited for the Umbreon 1 because I have to go and get a better time. Now for the Tier 4 raids, we have Alolan Exeggutor, and then Alolan Marowak, which can be shiny, Aggron, and then Absol, which can be shiny as well. And then for the Tier 5 raid, you have Cresselia, and for the EX raid, Deoxys. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and hop into these Eeveelution Tier 3 raids that I'm going to be soloing and discuss a few of their counters that you can use. Alrighty, so we have some counters that are going to be going up against Flareon that you could possibly be using. Rock, ground, and water types. So number 1, and now if you don't have any of these legendaries, don't sweat it. We're going to go down the list to some lower tiers, but keep in mind this is a Flareon. If you go down the list, you probably will not be able to do it unless you had some sort of weather boost for water or ground types, okay? Or even clear weather for rocks. So number 1, Mudshot and Earthquake. I wouldn't say number 1, but this is going to be a great option. This one right here is also going to be fantastic. Waterfall and Hydro Pump. Kyogre is working wonders right there. Now Tyranitar. Now I didn't recommend this for people to go after on Community Day. You should go ahead and do it. I mean, you can max out a full team if you want, but the reason being is because we may get Rampardos in the future and it's just going to be outperforming it. But still, Tyranitar is great. Lower tier Pokemon, we're going to move down here. We have Gyarados with Waterfall and Hydro Pump. You should be able to do that easy peasy with that even. Alright, and then of course, I don't currently have it, but you have Rhyperior, which should do pretty good. I'm actually very interested to see how well that's going to perform to go up against a Flareon, actually, as well as a Jolteon. Yeah, now that I think of it, I'm going to have to, yeah, well, it's just too bad because by the time I'm going to be able to have my next Sinnoh Stone, well, these raids are going to be gone, so I'm out of luck for that. Next counter is going to be Golem, Rock Throw, and Stone Edge. Fantastic. So if you have some of these, go ahead and use it if you do not have those other counters, and you should be able to do that. And if you have clear weather, you're going to have the rock boosted, so it's going to be doing massive damage. Now, if you do not have Kyogre's powered up, right, say you just caught him weather boosted, you should be able to throw those in there with Waterfall and Hydro Pump and still do a fairly good amount of damage. Okay, so also remember that. Vaporeon is also going to be a nice counter. So there you go. I'm not going to go over too many more because the list is going to start going down, but there you have it for those and the Flareon counters. Alrighty, for Vaporeon, let's go ahead and cover these counters. We're going to go number 1 is going to be Raikou, right? Thundershock and Wild Charge. Just a fantastic Pokemon all around to power up. Even have multiple of these. You don't have to worry about some signature move in the future. Just a solid Pokemon with good TPS. Alright, next up is going to be Electivire. I don't have one, but you're going to want to have that second runner-up if you want a unique team, okay? And then this is going to be debatable, but you can possibly go. Just going to throw some good options out here for a grass type now, and that is going to be a Venusaur with Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant, of course. So that is going to be a great counter. And then if you go up here to Zapdos, we have Wild Charge. Or if you were the ones who caught them during the raid day and have one of those power up, that's going to be Thundershock and Thunderbolt. But I have currently Charge Beam and Thunderbolt, and that works pretty good as well too. And then you have the regular Exeggutor with Bullet Seed and Solar Beam, a great counter as well, doing massive damage with that Solar Beam. And then if we swipe over, Bullet Seed and then Solar Beam for your Alolan Exeggutor, and that is also doing quite a bit of damage I wouldn't necessarily... I mean, you can use Torterra. I mean, this works. Should have actually tried that. I forgot all about it. Next time I'll throw that in the mix and see what we can do. I wouldn't necessarily go with Ampharos. But if you want to use your Sceptile, that is perfect. Very good. Bullet Seed and Leaf Blade. Remember, if you have some of these Trekos, keep them that are good IVs, because this is going to be a great one when it receives its Community Day move. So remember that, okay? And if we go down here, ignore Celebi. It doesn't even have grass moves. You can use Jolteon with Thunder Shock and Thunderbolt, okay? That's what you want, not Volt Switch. I mean, it's very slow. It's going to be doing okay damage, but I wouldn't really use that. And then we have Victory Belt with Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade. This is my 100. Performance is amazing, and it has never let me down. Always a good Pokemon to pick. And then you have Breloom with all grass moves, Bullet Seed, and Seed Bomb. Alrighty, now let's go over Jolteon counters. Your number one type that you're going to need to go up against this is going to be Ground type. And your best counter is going to be Groudon, period. But we have a new contestant entering the scene. And who is that going to be? That is going to be Rhyperior. So if you do have one of those currently, you did use your Sinnoh Stone on it, then go ahead and go for that, because that is going to be another good counter to go up against it. Probably going to be your second best option other than Rayquaza. That is going to be personally my second choice until I have a Rhyperior and see how well it performs going up against it. Hopefully it's not too slow with that Earthquake. Then again, Groudon does have it, but Groudon's attack is just massive. Anyways, Rhyperior should be good too, and then you have Rayquaza and Groudon. Now, what else could you possibly use? Well, I mean, you may want to pick your Dragonites with Dragon Tail or Outrage. That could, help you potentially there. Otherwise, it's not looking too vast for a selection of Pokemon to pick to go up against Jolteon, because it's very specific on what it's weak against, and it's holds up fairly well in the gym. Although my times have been better, I think it's because of the rework. So just give it a shot and see what you have going on there for your counters. Ground types, Groudon and Rhyperior, and then Rayquaza. And just a side note, if you're using Groudon, try not to dodge. I know I said you can last quite a bit if you're trying to use two, but if you're just kind of starting off, just go in there and attack straight through. You should be perfectly fine. If you don't have anything else and you just have that powered up Groudon, and you're thinking, well, I need to survive as long as I can to do as much damage as I can with this one powered up Groudon. That's the only thing that's super effective that I have. I understand. Try using other Pokemon that you have powered up that just have massive DPS output. Alright, on to Espeon, one of the new Tier 3 raids. Now, this is the first time we're seeing this in raids, and it is actually pretty cool to actually go up against it and then try to catch it. Now, if you see Psychic up there, Psychic is definitely not super effective against Psychic, so if you don't know typings, remember that. The only reason why I have that up there is because of the Mewtwo's, and they have Shadow Ball. It's going to be a decent counter to go up against it, although your Confusion is not going to be doing much damage, and this is one of the rarest cases where I would recommend this move, but you may want to go with Psycho Cut, because you don't need to worry about doing Confusion damage. You just need to get those Shadow Balls off as quick as possible in this specific situation. So that's not going to be your number one counter, but a good one. Now, you also have Tyranitar, Bite, and Crunch, and these counters are not going to be in any specific order. I'm just going to go down from their CP. As a matter of fact, Weavile is going to be outperforming this, doing more damage. It is insane, although Gengar is still going to be the champion. So yes, Bite and Crunch, Tyranitar, right? Okay, let's keep moving along here and see what we have. I have this powered up, but I mean, I wouldn't personally use it. It's not going to be doing that much damage, but obviously it's a ghost type with ghost type moves, so you can use that. Giratina, I suppose. And then if we keep moving down here, Weavile performed outstanding. Let me tell you something. Taking the charge hits, it did okay because I did several battles. Dodging the charge moves and taking the quick moves, it could basically almost take Espeon down to half health. This little guy right here, I am so happy I used my Sinnoh Stone on it. Feint Attack and Foul Play, a beautiful option to go up against this. And then, of course, you have a Scizor with X-Scissor and Fairy Cutter. That is going to be great. Now, unfortunately, I did not mention this bug type to go up against Cresselia in my counter video, but that is also going to be Pinsir with all bug moves. So Bug Bite and X-Scissor is actually going to be pretty good on Pinsir. As a matter of fact, #1 bug type Pokemon, so you can use that to go up against Espeon as well. So let's go ahead and move back up here. Of course, we're going to be going in here with the Gengar, Shadow Claw, and Shadow Ball. You guys know how we do it. Lick and Shadow Ball as well. My shiny all maxed out there. And they are going to be doing the most. Now, I just checked the DPS of this Pokemon. No. Actually, no, not that one there. It was going to be Dimension. And the DPS with the rework is currently sitting at 40 DPS flat. 40 with Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. Gengar just keeps getting better and better, so that is a good option too. You could use Alolan Muck with Bite and Dark Pulse, or Bite and Crunch. The DPS is fairly low, but you're not going to be taking super effective hits, so that is also going to be a nice option. Here's what the Alakazam looks like with Shadow Ball, so there you go with that. You can go in here with Heracross with bug moves, Struggle Bug, and Mega Horn, alright, for the people who do have one of those. And as far as other Pokemon at the top, there's not going to be much, but when we go down, there's going to be fairly good options. We have Houndoom right here, so Snarl and Foul Play, very good. And also, there we go, Absol with Snarl and Foul Play. And there's many other options you can use to go over this Pokemon. Like I said, I'm not going to be covering too many. I went over quite a bit just now because there is a lot to go against this. As a matter of fact, you can even use your Spiritomb, which I think I'll be dropping a video with that tomorrow. So there you go for the counters. Righty trainers, if you made it this far into the video, welcome to the grand finale, going up against Umbreon. I think this is going to be the toughest one out of all of them, basically. And we have the weaknesses that it's going to be having up on the screen here. Now, you're not going to necessarily want to use any of the fairy types because they do not have a fairy quick move, which is going to very quickly cripple your DPS. So you're going to scratch those right off the bat. Now, your number one choice is going to be Machamp for sure. Counter and Dynamic Punch, and there you go. I wouldn't really say number one. Personally, maybe Breloom. All right, maybe Breloom with Counter and Dynamic Punch, and they're still a little fatigued and weak from the battle we just had, as you can see, at 0 HP. All right, so yeah, Breloom. All right, let's get serious here. So number one choice to go up against a Umbreon, that's going to be Machamp. Number two is going to be possibly Blaziken and or Breloom. Personally, I went with Breloom with Counter and Dynamic Punch. And then third, I had Blaziken with Counter and Focus Blast. Now, there's a little trick with the Blaziken. Now, when you have barely any health left and you're about to get off your Focus Blast and say it's about to use its charge move, that is the only case I would say that you should dodge so that you can survive to get off that Focus Blast one last time, because you're sitting there doing your counter the whole time. You need to get off that charge bar, otherwise you kind of just wasted your time there, okay? I went in there with Lucario, folks. I maxed it out. Check it out. I completely maxed out my Lucario, so I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to be dropping a special video for that one tomorrow, or possibly even later today, so look out for that one. Otherwise, you're going to want to go with Hariyama. All right, Counter and Dynamic Punch, straight up. If you want a straightforward team that's just going to do the most damage, just go in there with Machamps. You know, Counter Dynamic Punch, simple as that. It is also weak to Bug, but this one is super close to the wire, so I don't recommend Bug moves. Nothing. Unless it's raining, then you can go with your Bugs because they're going to be weather boosted, and you can also use Scizor as well with Fury Cutter X Scissor, and you should be able to beat it depending on what level they are and what else is on your team. But other than that, folks, yeah, fighting types, Machamps, Brelooms, and Blazikens. And Lucario is a good choice too because I just wanted to use it. Now, they were not weather boosted, all right? And I don't know if I mentioned this, but 4 unique Pokemon, all right? So give it a shot. No weather boost. It was a challenge. And I was thinking about it, contemplating whether or not I should upload the failure attempts. And I said, no, I'll just skip it for now. If you're interested in seeing a separate video about that and me just doing some commentary over it, you know, let me know in the comments below, please. And I think I might get around to that. And I'll save the video of all the times where literally the raid timer would stop me from attacking at about 8 seconds and then exit the lobby, or at least the raid at about 6 seconds and say time up. Absolutely ridiculous. So I didn't want to make a rant video or anything. And if I do upload it, it's not going to be a rant video. It's more about it wasn't even me failing. It was simply the clock running out way too early. But anyways, there you go for the counters to go up against Umbreon. That's what it's going to take. You're not going to get past 4 Pokemon if you have them all the way powered up. Because as you can see, my Lucario will still have health. Very close. Very, very close. I'm surprised it even allowed me to finish it. And the funny thing is, we were there from hatch to end trying to actually let the raid allow us to win. That's the only thing. We sat there for 40 minutes because of that. So there you go for the counters. And with that said, trainers, enjoy the rest of this video. I hope you like this. If it did help you out, please give it a big thumbs up because that does help me as well. So be safe out there, trainers, and I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.